hello.
Oh, hello.
And welcome to the Comic Queens podcast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Annie. And today we are extremely excited to do another installment of our Garden of the Dead Flowers buddy read together.
Yes.
I am sad to say that these buddy reads are going to be coming to a close because if you are into those fast passes on Webtoon, this series is already completed.
And we could not wait, so we definitely got the Fast Pass episodes. We have completed the series.
We have zero patience.
Yes.
There was no holding us back. But today, we won't be discussing that with you. We will do a final installment where we do discuss all of our previous theories, the ending of the story, how all of the story concluded, our thoughts, everything like that. Today, we're talking about season 2, episodes 17 through 27. So leading right up to that finale. And it was a wild journey, so we can hop right into it.
Yeah. So where we left off before, we had just discovered what really happened to Vincent and Wim's mother. So just as a refresher for everyone, their father did kill their mother.
On accident.
On accident, but then locked Vincent up so that he wouldn't tell anyone.
Yeah, so was it really?
Yeah.
But we did find out they ended up cornering Durajo, the servant of the house, and he spilled all the beans.
Yeah, he did.
He was just over keeping all of these secrets, and he saw how good and kind Wim was, and he just goes, there's no way I can keep this anymore to myself. Wim is the only person who deserves to have the truth at this point.
The reason that he's kept this a secret for Vincent for so long is he felt guilty about not being able to help him when he was a child. So where we're getting started is Wim is confronting Vincent in the garden to ask him to tell about the mother.
Yeah, I think he's kind of doing this as a ploy. I do think that Wim is trying to connect with Vincent and wants to understand him. And he does have that background information now, understanding that Vincent is almost a creation of the terrible circumstances that he was put in after witnessing something extremely traumatic on top of it.
Yeah.
So Wim is treading very lightly and makes it seem like he has no idea what's going on just to see what information he can get out. And Vincent is pretty forthcoming with everything.
Yeah, he kind of says, Wim deserves to know the truth. If anyone does, it should be him. And he explains that their mother has been buried and become the wisteria tree.
Yeah, apparently after she had been killed and passed away, they buried her to cover it up.
Yeah.
And Vincent did end up seeing a sprout growing out of the ground where she was buried, and I think just in his delusion, found comfort in the fact that it was some sort of a reincarnation of his mother. I still, at this point, couldn't understand why Vincent was murdering all these other women and would want those to be the circumstances.
Well, I think it's in this episode that he gives his explanation for why he wants his mother to have people in the garden with her. He feels so alone because he has basically been shunned by his family. His father has locked him in a room for a few weeks and finally lets him out, but they've had a funeral for him. He doesn't exist anymore. And so he just feels utterly alone. All the people who know won't talk to him, and the people who don't know he can't talk to. So he doesn't want his mother, who he thinks is reincarnated as this tree, to be alone. So he's killing people to bring people into the garden to be with his mother.
Yeah, but he's killing people that he deems to be terrible.
Yeah.
So I didn't understand that part as much.
Yeah, I guess maybe not, but maybe he's thinking that he's going to make them better people in their second life.
They'll be better in reincarnation than they were in their previous living state.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know.
So they do have this moment where they connect together. And as we move forward to the next episode, Wim is struggling really hard with how to confront his father about everything. He knows he has to. He's still doing business as usual. So he's doing all of the different accounting reports and turning them in. And he does stumble upon his father talking with Vincent, extremely harsh. Vincent just wants more money so that he can buy gardening tools. And the father is just reaming into him.
Yeah, telling him he doesn't need more seeds. He can't take care of the gardening tools, and that's why he needs to buy new gardening tools. And just really saying, why aren't you better? Why aren't you more like Wim?
How disgusting.
It's this whole section of the series just made me so sad for Vincent and for Wim too. Like, he's realizing that he feels like he failed his brother now. All of this time he didn't know what was going on, and he feels like he's really let Vincent down.
Yeah, I mean, it's understandable that he would feel that way. I do know as well that he can't look at his father the same.
Yeah.
And he knows that all of this trauma is stemming from his father. And I think that's pretty earth-shattering as well. Like, he's dealing with all of these different emotions that have been dredged up of, I can't trust my father, who I've gone my entire life trusting, and it's all a lie.
Yeah.
And so Vincent didn't have any of those genuine connections, but Wim also really didn't either.
Yeah, he kind of isolated himself. They bring that up, that he just kind of rejected people most of the time and was very on his own. When people would try and come up to him and ask him for help with homework or something like that, he would just walk away and ignore them. And so they're all kind of in this isolation. But we do see that the three of them are having the saddest dinner ever.
It's in the dark.
It's so gloomy. No one is looking at each other. It's just very, very depressing. And Vincent and Wim are wearing identical outfits, just different colors. And their father is complaining about this, saying that he doesn't know how to tell the difference between them because they look identical. Shocking, because they're twins.
I've never heard of identical twins looking identical.
And they even bring it up. They say, well, Mama would have been able to tell us apart.
They do start bringing up the mom a lot to kind of rib their dad.
Yeah, and he admits that he killed their mother, but he says it was an accident.
He says, like, I was responsible. We were arguing, and it was never my intent for her to die, but it was too late.
Yeah.
So there was nothing else to do. And they do get into this very heated argument. And then we still aren't really sure which one is which. But you do see
one of the brothers shoots the other brother.
Yeah, the father immediately assumes it's Wim because this brother stood up, said, you killed her, didn't you? Acts surprised, everything else. And it turns out that it's Vincent. And Wim has been shot and killed.
Oh my gosh. This was shocking.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming at all.
Alex did read this in close proximity. We weren't discussing it ahead of time.
No.
So, one, there's a lot to talk through, but also she did see my very active reactions while reading this, and I had to put my phone down several times. My jaw fell open, and part of me goes, how does the story keep going from here?
Yeah, like, okay, the grandfather is dead. Doesn't that mean that his family line is dead?
But the next day, you see that Vincent starts going to school just like Wim did. And no one really questions this because Vincent looks exactly like Wim. There are a few different behavioral issues.
Yeah, which one of them they call out immediately is that he is being more friendly to all the girls. They're coming up and asking him for help with homework. He's entertaining just a swarm of girls while he's going throughout his day. And Mila and Juna are talking and saying, oh, is he just starting to ignore us? Like, why is he no longer talking to us? Maybe he doesn't want to be our friend anymore. So they're just kind of speculating. More so Juna, because Mila kind of feels what's going on. She gets a little bit of an understanding, and she starts to suspect that it's not really Wim.
She's suspecting something is going on.
Yeah.
Mostly because she's trying to discuss what the plan was that they had already agreed to. And when Vincent gets word of the fact that they planned on turning him into the police, digging up all the buried bodies and returning them to their families for proper burial, he's not very happy about that.
So she does the age-old trick. of giving him information to confirm, and he gets it wrong. So she says, oh, remember that time where I slapped you in the library, but really she bit him in the library? Mm-hmm. And that's how she knows that it's Vincent and not Wim, because he says, oh, yeah, I forgive you for that.
What do they call it? A bait and switch?
A bait and switch. I don't know. We just watched Face Off.
Ooh.
Do you know? Have you ever seen that? Not a good movie.
Oh.
Hot take. My husband and I were hysterically laughing through the whole thing.
Is it supposed to be scary?
It's not supposed to be scary. It's like an action movie.
Okay.
It's got Nicolas Cage and John Travolta are the two main characters.
Adele Dazeem.
Yeah. And it's not great. I mean, it's just not. And we were just laughing through the whole thing. But that's how the brother of the bad guy, who is Nicolas Cage, knows that they've switched faces, which, I mean, that's the movie. You think Face Off, that it's gonna be like they're facing off. No, it's Face Off. They're taking their faces off and switching them.
Okay, you're trying to tell me that this is a terrible movie, but have you ever seen, like, Mr. Mom?
I know
Maybe
the
that's
song,
not the one.
Mr. Mom.
Okay, no. So that's not the name of it. There is a for real movie. You can look this up. It is an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Oh my gosh, I know what you're
And
talking
he gets
about.
pregnant.
I know what you're talking
Is
about.
it Junior?
I don't know, but I know what you're talking about.
And here's the thing. It's one of those ones that you're like, this is a classic and you have to see it.
Yeah.
You probably don't ever have to see it twice.
It's a fever dream movie. You're like,
Yeah.
did I watch that?
There's also one where Arnold Schwarzenegger is supposed to be twins, and his twin is Danny DeVito. And
Yeah.
I can't remember what that one is either.
Twins.
And that brings us back to this beautiful twin story.
Yes. In this twin story.
Glad we had that segue. In this twin story, neither of them looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Danny DeVito.
Okay. So let's get back on track here. What happens after Mila knows that it's Vincent?
So in moving forward, when Camilla realizes that Vincent is who he is and that he's not Wim, she goes, what happened to Wim? And confronts him on it, immediately saying, I know that you're Vincent. Mm-hmm. And you just see that twisted evil face, which we haven't seen for a while from Vincent.
I know. It was a good reminder that he's an evil character, because I was starting to forget.
It's so easy to forget. You're just like, love him.
Poor Vincent.
He looks like Wim, who you gotta love.
I know.
So it's easy to get twisted up. But you do see him turn around with this twisted face saying, obviously, if Wim is dead and you're still here, who do you think is really your grandfather? Mm-hmm. And he starts holding this against her pretty immediately. And she's now terrified for her, in this world, unborn parents, herself.
Okay, I do have to call out here, though, because both Vincent and Mila are saying both of your parents wouldn't be here. That's not the case. One of them would still be there.
Yeah, I think he means they wouldn't be getting married because one of them wouldn't exist. So you wouldn't be here.
Yeah, that's not what he said.
I mean, if we're going to get into the technicalities, you're right. But this does take Mila back. She's scared to stand up against him. She doesn't want to forego her life, but she knows that she can't let Vincent get away with this either. Mm-hmm. So Vincent tries intimidating her, saying, I found your phone. I know your name. I know you're my granddaughter. And leave me alone. And so they separate. And Juna is trying to figure out why Wim is acting different. Mm-hmm. He asks Mila if there's anything that she knows as to why Wim would be acting differently. And she gets extremely harsh with him.
Yeah.
Kind of slams her hands down on the table, like I do myself. When I'm laughing hysterically, but
Yes.
she's not laughing. And you do see that Juna is just confused and says, maybe I can try to smooth things over between her and Wim because they were so close and they've been through so much together. Maybe they're just having, a hard time processing everything that's gone on. And so he rides his bike to Wim's house to talk to Wim, and who's waiting for him in the front yard but Wim, but it's actually Vincent.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. He immediately feels like something is wrong because he was able to get in the gate very easily. Vincent is waiting for him, just like very creepily standing in front of the gate.
Yeah.
Immediately after he comes in.
Invites him inside and nobody's there.
Yeah, completely empty. And Juna has a great idea. He decides he's going to go check out the garden.
So lovely.
Yeah. And while he's in the garden, he finds a woman there. And she is in the process of being murdered.
Yeah, he really has impeccable timing. Juna is admiring all the flowers. And the reason he goes in the first place is because so many people have talked about how wonderful at gardening Wim is.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, I mean, nobody's here. I might as well take a look around. He is a bit taken aback when he finds the woman in the process of being murdered, laying on the ground asking for help.
It would be a little shocking.
And I'm not going to lie, there was a part of me that was wishing it was Wim, actual Wim, asking for help in the garden.
Oh,
but it wasn't.
I mean, that would be a long time to just be hanging out after a gunshot wound because it's been days.
Yeah, and she's looking rough.
Yeah.
So she asks for help. He's shocked that it's a human. Was his first reaction.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. But then he is immediately confronted with Vincent again, and Vincent then also attacks Juna because Juna now knows what's going on and he must be killed.
Yeah. I will say, so when Mila finds out from Juna's mom that he's not home and he's running late, she immediately suspects that he went to go and visit his other friend. So she's looking around town for him late at night by herself, already not super smart to do. When she does go to look for him, it's confirmed that he's not there and he must be at Wim's house.
Yeah.
And as she's running to go and find him at Wim's house, she's pulled into an alleyway by none other than her own grandma.
Yeah, who is very confused as to why someone has been walking around looking exactly like her and impersonating her.
Yeah, she ended up getting a letter from Juna that convinced her to come back home. Mm-hmm. Told her that Kat and Roos had died, and Saruni was trying to find the strength in herself. Like, she's just afraid. She's a high school girl.
Yeah.
Like, this is not normal.
Who thinks that the person that she was kind of romantically involved with is a murderer. Mm-hmm. It's a little hard to deal with.
Yeah, hard to accept, really. Yeah. So, you know, she says that she's been here for a while. As soon as she got back to try to help with everything, she saw Mila pretending to be her. Mm-hmm. And stealing her identity. And then she thought that it was maybe involved with the murders. She's like, this girl can't be up to any good. But you find out that Mila's just willing to tell her right off the bat, hey, I'm your granddaughter from the future.
Yeah.
She's been through this speech a couple times now.
She's like, if I'm just convicted enough, people will believe me.
Yeah. And she kind of does. She's like, I guess I'm just going to have to believe you, even though it's impossible. But the only thing that she doesn't believe, ironically enough, is I would never marry a serial killer.
Yeah. So then Mila tells her about Vincent and that he's a twin and goes into the detail that Wim is not actually a serial killer, but unfortunately he's dead.
Yeah, Saruni's really just taking a beating here.
Yeah, she really is.
She's sad to have lost the person that she really loved. She's trying to take everything in that she can. And Mila doesn't even give her the time to process. She goes, I don't have time for this right now.
I've got to go save Juna.
Because Juna's in danger. And so she just kind of tells him, like, he's going to confront who he believes to be Wim, and it's Vincent.
Yeah.
So Saruni's struggling within herself as to whether or not she has the strength to go with. And Mila is just determined at this point. She's been dealing with it all herself.
Well, Mila tells her not to go. She says, wait here. If I'm not back in 2 hours, then you need to leave.
Yeah. Like, get out of here.
Yeah.
Mila ends up going there, sees Juna's bike, and sneaks into the house. And ultimately, she finds out that she's going to have to fight back. And so she takes this knife from the kitchen And before she can even make her way to the garden, Vincent has walked in behind her asking what she's doing there so late.
Yeah. And again, threatens her with the fact that if he goes down, that she and her whole family line will not exist.
Yeah. They get into an extremely violent fight.
Now, do you remember this fight is from the beginning?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is a callback to the beginning. The story had opened up with that crossbow moment.
Mm-hmm. And now we see where we come from with that crossbow moment.
They are tussling in the kitchen. They're throwing vases and cups and everything at each other that they can just to break Vincent from trying to choke her.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, okay, we'll play a little game of cat and mouse.
Yeah. And Durajo tries to help Mila and tries to get her out. And unfortunately, that is his demise. And Vincent shoots him with the crossbow for trying to help Mila escape.
Yeah. So we do see the repeat of the beginning opening scene where, you know, her arm has already been brushed by one of the arrows. She's trying to run away and she gets near an exit and she's trying to reason with him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Vincent says, you piqued my interest and I didn't really want to kill you, but you should have stayed quiet and now you haven't given me another choice.
Yeah.
And she said, I can't possibly have been a real friend to you. You wouldn't do this to a real friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's trying to reason with it all. And she goes, what would make you stop? You know, you hurt all these kind-hearted people.
I'll do anything you want. And he says, what if I want you to die?
Will you die for me?
Yeah. So she's kind of faced with that and trying to figure out what to do. And then we see that Saruni, the real Saruni, ends up coming to her rescue. And everything is coming to a head at this point.
Yeah. All the worlds are kind of clashing.
Yeah.
You do see that Saruni has now been, not Saruni, Mila has now been shot in the shoulder.
Yes.
And she's fearing for her life. And fortunately, Vincent ends up missing by some miracle. So she's able to get a little bit more distance between them.
Mm-hmm.
But he makes it very clear that she's not leaving this garden.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not alive. And he starts shooting at the bush that she's hiding behind, just aimlessly, to see whether or not he can pierce her through the bush.
Because he's a little unhinged.
Just a little bit. I kind of love it.
I do too.
What's wrong with us?
I don't know what's wrong with us, but throughout the whole thing, I had to keep reminding myself he's a bad guy.
He is.
Yeah, because, I mean, going back to the FMK episode that we did a while ago, I think we both chose to marry him.
We could fix him. But Vincent does shoot through the bush a bunch to see if he can end up, you know, hitting her. And as he goes back around, he sees Mila laying down, assumes that she's dead, and she's taken the arrow that went through her and stabs it through his foot to, again, try to create that distance for them. But she's getting tired. She's losing a lot of blood. She ends up finally finding Juna, who has been shot and is barely surviving himself. Mm-hmm. Or not shot, stabbed. In the stomach.
He was stabbed in the stomach, and at first she thinks that he's dead, but when she goes up to check him, she realizes that he's still warm and that he is still hanging on, even though he is very injured.
Yeah. We do see that Saruni is finally coming in. She stumbles upon Durajo's unconscious body, mm-hmm. and she makes immediate eye contact with Vincent.
Yeah.
Who very quickly realizes that this is the real Saruni because there can't be one person in two places at once.
Yep.
So they have their own little confrontation.
Yeah, Saruni has armed herself with a pitchfork, which, I mean, pretty good weapon in this case.
I mean, if you're just going with gardening tools, it's a pretty handy one.
You know, you've got a lot of range. It's very pointy.
Yeah. And he doesn't have the crossbow at this moment.
No, he does not. He is trying to bury Mila and Juna. He's digging a grave for them when Saruni stumbles upon him. So it's not a great look for him.
It's not. But unfortunately, Saruni is not very well versed in fighting.
No.
So she does charge after Vincent and ends up getting thrown to the ground by her hair.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, when he is stomping on her head with his bare feet in the garden, that scene is just insane.
Yeah. I mean, they really do tie in a lot of those different horror pictures.
Yeah.
But Mila finds the strength in herself to grab the pitchfork and stab Vincent while he's trying to hurt Saruni.
Oh my gosh. She stabs him right in the back.
She ends up stumbling backwards and she's losing too much blood at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So with Vincent unable to move after a stab wound, you do see Mila laying on the ground and she's also losing her own strength at this point. And Saruni rushes to her side. It's honestly a really sweet and emotional moment where you also still kind of feel like Saruni doesn't believe Mila that it's her granddaughter. And she's saying, I'm going to get you and Juna help. Like, stay with me. And she starts to disappear.
Yeah. So I think she's got to believe her now.
Yeah. And I think that this also kind of gave Vincent the pride that he was hoping for.
That now that he is injured and clearly they're not going to get married and have children and grandchildren, that his family line is gone.
Yeah, it ends with him after all the trauma and everything he's been through. But you do see him just kind of crawling towards her on the ground. And that's when his father comes in.
Yeah. And his father has a gun. And Vincent starts to plead to his father and say, she has come in here and she has stabbed me. She's trying to kill your only son. Please help me. Trying to just appeal to him as a father and also as someone who wants to keep his line going, because Vincent knows that it's his reputation and his line are very important to him. So he tries to appeal to his father, and you do see his father pull the trigger of the gun.
Yeah. In the next episode, you don't get immediate closure either. You do see that Vincent's father has been making arrangements for himself or some sort of arrangements abroad in the UK. And you see that he's just extremely exhausted. Just all of the pent up frustration and anger and sadness that came along with all the secrets he's held on to for years. Mm-hmm. You see all of his inner turmoil. And you really do get a sense that there's remorse there.
Yeah, he feels bad because he realizes that he did this to Vincent.
Yeah, he did this to Vincent, and he sees back as well how much he loved his children when they were born, how much he did love his wife.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't intentional for her to die in the way that she did. And you see him so tormented with the images of the past that he just says, I'll do whatever it takes to make it up to everyone involved. Like, I just have to make things right. Mm-hmm. And you see we're back to the present day. He is shooting into the air, and you see that he actually shot Vincent.
Yeah.
It was so sad because you do see Vincent pleading to him, like, why your own son?
Vincent was shocked, too. You can see in his eyes he really did not think that his father was going to shoot him and choose to save everyone else instead of saving his son.
Yeah, and he does appeal to him. He begs him to save him. And unfortunately, the father just brings up the fact that Wim would have pleaded as well if he was even given a moment to have said anything to his brother. You know, and he says, like, you've gotten too much blood on your hands. I just can't put anybody else through this again.
Yeah. And you see that Vincent, too, is reflecting back on when he was younger and how Wim really did try to help him and maybe not go as far as he wanted to be helped, but he tried to fix the situation, and he said, I won't leave you again. I'm never going to leave you in that room again. And so he feels regret for killing his brother, too.
Yeah, and he dies looking at the flowers that, to be honest, it was pretty emotionally jarring. I felt like he was just looking at Wim in those flowers.
Oh my gosh, that was the saddest scene ever. It just makes me so heartbroken for everyone in the story.
Yeah, and so unfortunately the last people who are standing are Saruni and Vincent's father, who now have a lot of cleanup to do. And it says that that's where that main story ends.
No, the main story, there's one more episode.
There's one more episode, but it literally, the quote is, and that's how it all ends.
Is it? Oh. All right, fine.
So the character dialogue tells us that that is how it all ends. It's very obvious that there's going to be some backlash and some cleanup after everything else. And so that leads us into our final episodes.
Yeah. And we can see with the Fast Passes, which is why we purchased the Fast Pass episodes, that there is one more main story and then 2 epilogues.
I am so excited to talk through this one. It has been such a fun time.
Oh my gosh. I'm so glad we picked this story to read. It is such a good story. All the way through, I feel like we've just been on our toes the whole time.
Yeah, we've had wild, outlandish theories, which some are maybe right, some are maybe not. We'll find out about the cat. Is the cat the grandma?
The cat might be a grandma.
Who's to say? Other than us in the next episode.
Yes,
for the
we will
read.
let you know if we're right or not.
Yes. But yes, please, if you've been reading along with us, we hope you've been enjoying this just as much as we have. We will, in the next few weeks, be releasing another Garden Buddy Read episode, our last one, where we discuss the story, how everything ended and concludes, what theories maybe we were right on, maybe what theories we weren't right on, and just ultimately kind of ending it.
Yeah.
But thank you all so much for joining us on this Garden Buddy Read. Looking forward to talking to you all on the next one.
Goodbye.
Bye.